Okay, so you should hopefully have just finished watching that video, kind of explaining how to work with page sizes, things like that. Now, something that I didn't use as much in the previous video that I'm going to show you more of in this one is using the page size dialog box. Now, they kind of have changed where it's located from what the information tells you in the pages. So these videos here for the exercise 11, the two parts of it, are going to really help you with it. So we're going to do both parts actually in this one video. So let's start with the first part. Of course, it says step 1, start publisher if necessary. So I have already done that. Step 2, begin a new blank publication using letter portrait 8.5 width by 11 inches tall template and save it as 11 pumpkin underscores and then your initials. So right here is my 8.5 by 11 template portrait. So I'm going to click on that. And I'll go ahead and save it right away. So I'll find the folder I need to save it to. And then type in my file name for the publication, pumpkin initials. Okay, so I've done that. Next thing I need to do is change the page size for step 3. So step 3, set the page size to 8 inches for the width and 10 inches for the height. So the way to do that, of course, is I click on my page design tab. And then I move over to size, and then I need to go down to create new page size since this is a custom one. And then I'm going to change the size of it from 8.5 to 8, and then of course it says here I need to change it to 10 for this step. And then I'm just going to click OK. So I have my new page size there, 8 by 10 inches. For the margin layout guides, change it to 0.8 on all sides. So I need to go back up here, click on guides, and then the way to get to the margin layouts guides is to go all the way down here to grid and baseline guides. I click on that, and then I click on my margin guides tab, and here all I have to do is click the little up arrow along each one and change it to 0.8, and that is for step number 4. So let's change that so you can see all 4 of them here have been changed. For step number 4, I click OK. You see my margins moved in just a little bit, and then here it says I need to place a vertical ruler guide at the 1.5 inch mark and a horizontal ruler guide at the 1.5 inch mark. So vertical, remember, is going up and down, horizontal is going left and right. So let's place our vertical one first. I click over here on my vertical one, click, pull it towards the center. I can see my line is appearing. I'm going to bring it all the way over here to 1.5 inches to line this up. There we go. And then in order to do my horizontal one, I click up here on the horizontal guide and then ruler, and then I bring it down here to 1.5 inches. There we go. So I have my markers here, 1.5 going this way, and then, oh, you know, I did 2.5. Let's scoot back. There we go. So that's for step number 5. So I've placed my vertical and horizontal ruler guidelines, and then my next thing to do is to draw a text box. Create a 4-inch wide by 2-inch high text box beginning at the intersection of the ruler guides. So I'm going to click on Home, Draw Text Box. I'm going to line up with my rulers, or my ruler guides, I should say. Click, hold it down, and then I'm going to watch up on my rulers to see if I've got in the right spot. So I've started at 1.5, so I'm going to bring it all the way to 5.5 inches wide on the top ruler, so I know it's 4 inches now for the box, and then it needs to be 2 inches tall, so I need to bring it to 3.5 inches down this way. So, and then make sure you're lined up on both. It's a little tricky here. Get as close as you can. Alright, and then let go. There we go, and it says for step number 6, type in pumpkin carving contest. So I'm going to do that in the text box, and then it says here for the next step, number 7, clear all ruler guidelines. So I'm going to click on page design, guides, no ruler guides. It gets rid of it. It's easier than clicking and dragging each one and moving it out, and then of course save my work and exit. So save it. There we go. Finish the first part of exercise 11. So I'm going to X out, open up a new publication, and we're going to finish the on your own part. So this exercise is kind of nice for the fact that you don't have to open up any other files. You just need a new publication each time. So I just finished the first part. Let's do the on your own. So start publisher if necessary. Step number 1, we did that. Step number 2, create a new publication using one of the greeting card templates. So to find those, we need to click on built-in, and then you can see if I go down here, the alphabetical ordered list, greeting cards right here. I click on that. I'm just going to go with the very first one right here, so it's already selected birthday number 1. Now remember, some of you I think found this out from doing the test, some of you didn't. I'm going to go with default. In order to find it, it's always going to be at the top of your scheme lists. So you could go with a different scheme and go down, but if you want to find default, remember it's always at the top. So I have it already preset the default. It's set for quarter sheet, side fold, ArtBit layout. I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to create it. And then of course it says here for that last part of step 2 to save the file. So I'm going to save it in my folder, and we need to save it as 11 card underscore and then my initials. So 11 card underscore and then my initials. And then I'm going to choose to save it. Then step number 3, in page setup, change the card to side fold card 5.5 by 8.5. The way we're going to do that is, of course, we need our page setup dialog box. We find that by clicking page design tab, and then we click on size, and then we go all the way down to page setup. Now in the page setup dialog box, it says here change the card to side fold card. So I'm going to click over here where it says sheet fold. Now you can see here there's 2 different ones. The way you're going to find out which one they're talking about is by clicking on it and seeing what the inches are. So I can look here at, I'm looking at side fold card to 5.5 by 8.5, and you can see neither one of these is set up that way. So if I click on the other one right here, the very last one, I can see it's giving me what I need, the 8.5 by 5.5. So you're going to want to choose the one at the very bottom, and we can check and know it's the right one by these numbers here. The page size is different than the paper size. Keep that in mind, okay? So page size is different. We're messing with the page size right now, not our paper size. And then I'm going to click OK. Step number 3, or excuse me, step number 4 is what we're on now. Step number 4, in print setup dialog box, change the paper size to legal. The way we get to that is, of course, we hear the word print, so we know we need to go to File, Print, and then it's saying change it to legal. In order to change it to legal, we need to go down past here to where it says letter, and this is talking about we're changing the paper size. So we changed the page size in step 3. Now we're changing the paper size in step 4. So I click on letter, and right under you can see legal 8.5 by 14 inches. Click on that, and then I need to reopen. So that's step number 4, and it says step number 5, reopen the page setup dialog box and set the width to 7 inches. So I'm going to click on the back arrow now that we've completed step number 4, and then for step number 5, page setup dialog box, you should hopefully know by this time it's size. Remember, page design tab, size, and then page setup, and then of course we're changing the page size to 7 inches width. So change that, and then I'm going to click on OK. Step number 6, in layout guides dialog box, turn off the 2-page master setting. So my guides, layout guides dialog box, that's going to be over here. Here's my layout group under the page design tab. I click on guides, and then I go all the way down here to the very bottom and click on grid and baseline guides. This is going to bring out the layout guides dialog box, and then I need to choose margin guides to find the checkbox I need and uncheck it. So instead of 2-page master, it's a 1-page master. And then also it says here I need to set my margin guidelines. This is step number 7. Step number 7, set the margin guidelines to be 0.6 on all sides. So I can click the little up arrows right along here and then delete this 6, so that way it's 0.6 for all my margin guides, and then I uncheck this box in step number 6. So that's step 6 and 7. Once I've done that, I'm going to just click OK. it makes those slight changes. And then here it says I need to resize and reposition the objects on the front of the card to look good with the new page size. So I'm just going to go select the two objects. You could do both objects, change the size of them at the same time. I'm just going to do them one at a time. I found this tends to be a little bit easier. And then I'm going to actually move these down a little bit so they fit. Notice how I'm using those little guides that pop up, the pink one, to help me with positioning it. You can see it looks centered. And there's my greeting card all set up. So they just want you to change the front part for this. Make sure you save your file, and then of course this is when you would be completely finished with exercise number 11, and you'll bring it up to me. So this exercise was mainly about page design settings. Remember, key thing to remember is you can change the paper size and you can change the page size. So when I'm messing with this part right here in the page setup dialog box, I'm changing the page size. If I want to change the paper size, I need to go to File, Print, and choose it over here. So keep that in mind. You can change the paper size and page. Page size refers to the pages here. Paper size refers to the actual paper you're putting in the printer. Okay, that's very important to take away from this lesson. Remember, the page design dialog box is in page design tab, page setup group, and then I click on size and page setup. So that's very different from the textbook, and you're going to want to remember it, because when we do the application test later on, you're going to have to be able to do it on your own. So this is really important to remember, and it's also really important if you want to use Publisher effectively, which you need to for this class, even if you don't use it outside of class. So, alright, exercise 11 is done, and then you can move on to submitting the files to me on your flash drive.